topic.
Right.
How much of that type of knowledge can they give to the public without people actually like freaking out? You get what I'm saying? Because there definitely is, like, I'm on both sides in a sense, like, maybe not so now with aliens specifically, but with big things, like if it was a national security threat or something like that, if you told the public, they'd fucking freak out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what is that equal balance, you think?
I think the reason we haven't seen grand information like that come out to the public is because the public is not ready.
Right.
I'll bring up something a little off topic, but bring it back in. The Balenciaga
Yeah.
scandal that just popped off. They've been doing things like this for a very, very long time. They did the bondage advertising with the children.
Yeah.
They said, okay, we're going to try this. We're going to see how far we can
Yeah,
push this.
Yes, exactly.
And
they
it
want to see
backfired.
you want to see what the reaction from the public is.
Exactly.
Right.
And you can talk about the government and the Fed and various things they've done throughout the past 4 to 5 years. They're testing people. They're saying, how far can we push people before we say, hey, you're all slaves?
Yeah. Man, that's a fucked up thing though, cause bro, Balenciaga was a dope brand. I personally, I'm not too I'm familiar with Balenciaga, of course. I'm not too familiar with what they've done in the past. Other than this, do you know those off the top of your head?
Balenciaga, I think, is directly coordinated with the Epstein list, the list of people that were buying and doing these things to children.
That's big,
huge, big.
So why do you think do you think the owners are incorporated in that circle?
100%. Because the two owners, I don't know their names by heart, but they are renowned globalists.
Yeah.
They're all about a one world religion, one world population.
The owners of Balenciaga?
Yes.
Really? I did not know that. So, but continue, so.
And you look at the celebrities that are, endorsed or have sponsorships by Balenciaga. Exactly. They have said nothing. I've heard nothing from anyone. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, I was going to say.
At the end of her tweet, she said, I may consider stop taking their money.
Right.
What do you mean, consider?
Right.
They're going to put it. You have children.
Yeah. No, that's definitely strange, man. I especially when it comes to social media and like influencers and people that have power on social media that big, like as big as the Kardashians, we'll throw in Kanye in there too. When you get that big though, it's definitely weird to like, cause okay, imagine this. As somebody, I feel like with that type of schedule is really what I'll say. That type of schedule, it's hard to really know everything because you're so focused on so many things, right? And so their knowledge, I guess you could say, on certain things might not be as large. So if somebody offers them a deal, worth a lot of money, they might just, if it seems cool, what I'm saying? There's probably a word for this, probably a good word for this. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. But like they want the bag, you know what I'm saying? And if it takes, I don't think they do it intentionally every time.
Right.
Every time. You saw this a lot recently with like all the NFTs and shit. There would be this happened with like big A-listers too. Like so many people, like the Kardashians were part of it. LeBron, I mean literally everybody. Right. An NFT or some type of project would be pushed to them, and because the bag was large, you know what I'm saying? Because it's big.
Very large.
Yeah, and because it wasn't too known about, it was that weird window was there for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that this could be a thing with Balenciaga or?
I don't know. I truly don't know. I think there's a lot more to the Balenciaga scandal than we know. And unfortunately, I think there's a lot more behind the scenes that we won't find out.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the, I think, lead designers or someone that's directly involved with Balenciaga is pretty open about the fact that she likes to be a cannibal. She's pretty open about it.
Are you serious?
Her Instagram, bro. I recommend, and anyone watching, I recommend just do a little bit of Instagram research, Google research on the photos that she had posted on her Instagram.
I'm sure they're taken down now, right?
Well, as soon as Balenciaga got, quote unquote, she went private.
Oh, so, she went private?
Yeah, she went private.
That's some shit.
It is, isn't
That's
it?
some shit.
You want to post all these posts about children and
then as soon as you're in the spotlight, you want to take it all down.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that is okay. So everything has its pros and cons, and we'll get into this moderation. We wanted to talk about this.
We did.
So everything, when it comes to social media, is like, bro. I don't know, when I said moderation, it sort of threw me off because we had a good conversation about that.
We did have a really good conversation.
I was gonna say, we'll just go into the moderation because when I thought of that, it threw me off. Yeah, it clicked. But no, so many things are good in moderation, but so many things like this sort of takes it back. Too much of something like we'll just say Balenciaga again, like testing out things. I think that's too much though. You know what I'm saying? I think you stick to something that works and be a clothing brand. I don't think everything, obviously every company, every person, like they're going for power.
Right.
Like that's what a lot of these huge brands are going for. So they try to leverage themselves and put themselves in positions to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. It's just weird how much shit goes on behind the scenes that actually, ends up being really weird and not like normal. You know what I'm saying? It's so strange, and there's lots of different brands, lots of different things. I don't know. There's just a lot of shady shit.
Yeah, and look at Adidas. They're founded by Nazis.
Well, man, okay, let's just get into Kanye. I want to say this really quick to all the people listening. So I've known him for a long time, and
very long time.
Yeah, very long time. I don't remember what year we met. But anyways, so I've known him for a long time, and at a young age, for us, he loved Kanye. Like, Kanye was his man, like Life of Pablo days. Like,
man.
Like Kanye, he was a big fan of Kanye, and he was the first person to be like, because I remember literally my mom being like, hey, Kanye, I don't know about this guy. He's a little fishy, you know what I'm saying? And then, so he started listening to him. That's like when he was starting to get into Yeezy at the beginning, and so you were super into that. And so you sort of like put him in the spotlight for me.
Yep.
And so from that point, though, I've loved Kanye. Yeah. And I don't care what everybody says. I think that he does say a lot of shit that, unfortunately is bad and not the right thing to say. I think that he also... he's in a position where a lot of us can't understand him, is what I'll really say. And you know how the media is, man. Mm-hmm. You say a few things that are bad. Like I said, I'm not saying what he said was good at all.
Right.
But I'm saying you say a few bad things, and then it's in front of every person in the U.S.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is very unfortunate. But I am a big fan of Kanye. But let's get into how he came to be and what you think of him now.
I think we'll talk about the most recent thing he said about Hitler. I think he's already been canceled. They've already taken everything away. The man's got nothing to lose. He's on a full tyrant, ready to go against the elite, against the globalist. I think because he tried the black thing, didn't work. He tried the white thing, didn't work.
Right.
He's found an itch. He's found a topic that really gets people angry.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to push it as hard as he can.
And listen. So we sort of talked about this with Balenciaga. I think that's what he's doing in a different way. Whoops, little splash. But no, I think that's what he's doing in a different way as Balenciaga, though. He's trying to push it. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to push it to see how far it can go. Mm-hmm. And also, so one thing I just want to throw in there with Kanye, I think for somebody that has been around for so long, you do things that you try to stay relevant for. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that he's not relevant at all. Like, bro, he's one of the biggest artists in the fucking entire world in multiple different categories, right? So I don't think it's that simple, but I definitely think some of the things he does, he tries to do and say to, stay relevant, which is not a problem, but that's just part of his job.
Right.
But the way he approaches it is a little
I agree.
Wishy-washy.
Because even the stuff that he said before the Hitler thing and the Nazi thing, I agreed with everything he said. I agreed with 100% everything he said. And then he said, I like Hitler. And I was like, okay. I don't know how to defend that. And then he tweets a swastika mixed with a Star of David.
I saw that.
I'm like, bro.
It's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Bro, and then I think it's so funny how you have the richest man in the world and the former richest black man in the world, which their races have nothing to do with this, but just their status, how they're sitting here going back and forth. Like, I don't know, it's just so funny or the positions and the situation Kanye puts himself in. Like, dude, how he's running for president, man. Like that's cool, but I don't know. He put himself in that position, and then how a few years ago he was like rallying with Trump, and then he's talking to Elon Musk, and he's doing all this like
side
you can never
stuff.
You can never keep up with this man, and I just think it's so funny. I don't know, man. Kanye is a character, and me as a fan, and I'm sure you'd say the same. I hope that everything turns around for him in a good way. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll bounce back. I mean, this is shit with Kanye has been happening like this. Maybe not in this same scale or same thing, but shit with Kanye has always happened. Literally since we were kids.
There's two parts of me that go one way. I either think Kanye's just pushing that agenda. Yeah. He's found something that pissed people off, so he wants to talk about it and try to see how far he can push it. Or because Kanye, he's always been, the elite. He's had a bunch of money. He's been and seen things. He's talked about it himself. He had to sacrifice his own mother to get that money and fame.
Right.
So Kanye's seen the shit around, Hollywood and the record
labels.
He's
definitely had like that backdoor look, the inside look. You know what I mean, for sure.
So who's to say he's still not owned by the elite? Who's not to say this isn't a distraction?
Right.
For something else going on behind the scenes.
Right. Look at it a different way.
Exactly.
100%. I definitely see what you're saying. But do you think he's controlled, though? Do you think he's got, handlers? Or do you think that he actually, it's hard, bro. I don't know which way to fall because I definitely think a part of me thinks that he actually is very, I don't think he's a bad person. I think he tries to do good. Mm-hmm. Like I think he definitely has some problems, and I'm not gonna even say any type of whatever, or I'm not gonna assume any type of problem that he has. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think that, I don't know, bro. It's so hard. It goes both ways. Like, I don't know if he's controlled or not. It's so funky because, like I said, I don't know, the whole Kanye thing is sort of funky.
I think when he
because I'm sitting here running back all the shit that he's done and like the shit that he said, it's just like everywhere. It's so and I'm like I said, I don't want to assume what he goes through and everything just because that's none of my business, or it's nothing that I can say. But I think being bipolar, you know what I'm saying, can definitely affect that. That sort of shows why it's so like here, all and there. Yeah, exactly. Like not multiple personality disorder, but like sort of in that way. You know what I mean?
I know
like
exactly what you mean.
In different parts of the year, he's doing different shit. Mm-hmm. Like he'll disappear for a year and then be on his Jesus shit.
Exactly.
And then he'll disappear for a year and then be on his fuck shit. Like he's
Think of it. Like what? A year ago? No, maybe 2 years ago, he dropped a gospel album.
Right.
Kanye
straight gospel
dropped a gospel album, and now he's talking about he loves the Jews, or loves Hitler and loves Nazis and hates the Jews. What?
Which actually doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
But okay, let me ask you this though: what made him change his mind? Do you think that he's actually like slightly crazy, or do you think that something was presented to him to trigger this switch in?
I think it was Kim. I think the Kim and the kids and all of that situation going on. And you gotta think. Did you see what he said about Chris Paul the other day?
Yes. But do you think he said that to deter from his situation now? Or, like, what's your thought on that?
I just think he's just posting whatever the hell he wants to post.
Yeah. And also, bro, I've said this before, I think that it's bad for people when they have nobody around them to tell them no. Mm-hmm. Like, he's in a position, and like I said, I'm not in a position like this, so I can't really say for sure. But I think people in that position, like, you've got so many yes men around you that it's hard for somebody to come up to you and be like, no, you shouldn't do this. Because really, who's to tell Kanye don't do this? Yeah. I mean, like I said, you want those people around you that can tell you that without that like hard feelings. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's hard when you're at that type of position.
It is.
You know what I mean?
But a good friend, a good true friend, will challenge you mentally and challenge you spiritually and whatever spiritual aspect you want to talk about.
Yeah,
but they're going to challenge you intellectually. That's a good friend. You know what I mean? That'll make you question your decisions because.
So on that topic, good friend will challenge your thought. We had a good conversation, man. Hey, and I want you to hear this too. This man thinks that the earth is flat.
I do think the earth is flat, but...
Let's fucking get into this, because, bro, he told me this the other day, and... Oh, my gosh, bro.
Okay, then what do you think about the pictures from space? Like, when it's like...
Yeah, okay.
Or do you think that the moon's landing fake?
Okay, I'll tell you something. So, the other day when we were over there, so Dude Perfect made this video of... They were on a mission... I guess you could say mission with Blue Origin with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos' company. And it was the first time that I believe it was the first time that random civilians went up in an unmanned, like there was no pilot. Right. So it was literally just like for a fun mission. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they were trying to achieve going to the moon and getting samples or nothing like that. But anyways, I showed him the video. He's like, I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying for the people that are flat earthers, they're like the dome this, the dome that, the dome this. It looks weird. It doesn't look like, bro. I want to hear it, and I want you to dissect it. I want to have a good conversation. So I want to say this first, just because this chaps my khakis, man. Like, I want to have a good conversation. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's no possible way you'll persuade me that the earth is flat.
100%. I know.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not saying that you would do that, but I want to see your side, and I also want to try to tell you why I think the earth is round. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
there's two points I always go with. The first point is, now that I've started being in conspiracy theory and kind of diving into the history of America and the history of the world, I've kind of become more Christian than I've ever been. I've become a lot more in tune with my spiritual self than I've ever been. And if you look at the world, Andrew Tate actually said this, and it kind of sparked a light in my head. If you see all the evil in the world,
right?
No one, you could be left, right, doesn't matter the race, gender, you can see there's evil in this world.
Yeah, 100%.
How can there be evil without a good? You know what I'm talking about?
I agree.
So you have to think of it that way. So I'm going to the flat earth theory as a Christian.
Okay.
And I also mentioned in the Torah, in every spiritual and religious book in Scripture, it talks about a firmament over the earth.
Okay, can I also ask you this? Mm-hmm. So just throwing an idea that goes along with that. So say... And there's sides to both of this. So hundreds of years ago, there's Earth, or there's maps of the Earth that say we're round, and there's maps of the Earth that say we're flat. Mm-hmm. Just to put this into perspective, though, hundreds of years ago, though, we did not have the technology we have now. Mm-hmm. 2, as a person that and I'll use this as an example, like we have the ability to use technology now. Mm-hmm. I can go look up anything I want, mm-hmm. right? That was not available. Like that type of knowledge, even books like that weren't that available hundreds of years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So you being a person that is, I don't want to say small or simple-minded, just in a different way mm-hmm. than hundreds of years ago, right? Mm-hmm. What's to tell you that the earth isn't flat?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So mm-hmm. I think that to me, and this, we'll go a little bit into religion on this podcast. Mm-hmm. A little later, though. But it's the same thing with religion. I think that over hundreds of years, all the knowledge that we have has finally like come around the world full circle.
Right.
Right? Because hundreds of years ago, there was different parts of the world that had completely different theories. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing with religion. Like there's completely different religions because all these sectors of the world were blocked off.
Right.
Right? So that, I think it's lack of spread of information and knowledge. Mm-hmm. That's what I think that would be because that's why I think there's different maps. Like there's maps that do say the earth is flat, but then there's maps that say the earth is round.
Right.
So maps wise, you can mm-hmm. continue. I just want to say that.
I think, because I'll tie it into another point that we're probably going to touch on later, is that if you look at history, what we've been lied to about history, who is to say that the moon landing and the history of our universe isn't in that same boat with history we've been lied to? Because it's still part of our history as a human race and as, a planet. It's still part of our history. And like I said, out of all the conspiracy theories I believe in, notice I put conspiracy theories in quotes, out of all the conspiracy theories that I talk about or try to persuade people or educate people on, the one I never bring up is the flat earth because it's strictly like a religious point of view.
And I get that 100%.
And that's like, it's the hardest for me.
That's a hard question.
It's a hard question. It's hard
especially
to answer.
If you actually like, and again, I'm not coming at you when I say this, but if you actually believe that, that's hard for somebody to tell you. Like,
yeah. And the thing is, though, about like every other conspiracy theory that I think could be an issue, that's one of the ones that just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If the earth is round, if it's flat, if it's a square, it looks like a fucking triangle.
Well, okay.
It's not going to change anything about the way I live my life. You know what I mean?
So, okay, but what changed your mind? Because I know when you were our age as a kid, you didn't believe the earth was flat. So, like, what really was that point for you? Okay, and I also want to say this as a little side note to that question.
Yeah.
I've been what I believe it started from, I've been there. Mm-hmm. Okay? Bro, TikTok came out. That was literally it. Mm-hmm. Like, and then, the algorithm starts working toward you. Mm-hmm. You start getting shown, bro. It's like you're a product of your environment. Mm-hmm. Say you're looking at 50 videos a day of the earth. Oh, the earth is flat for this reason and that reason and this mm-hmm. reason. You're going to start to fucking believe that the earth is flat. Mm-hmm. Did it start from TikTok and things like that? Like honestly, did it start from that?
I probably have less than 15 minutes total on TikTok.
Well, not specifically ever. TikTok, but any type of
say no.
Modern, like, social media algorithm style, like the Reel, the Facebook, like any type of that. Did it start from that, or where was the origin of your flat Earth?
I would say about right around the time when I started to dive into the history of mm-hmm. the country and the planet, which was 2-3 months ago, around that time. Because when I was doing all these different things, it's very suspicious how much the government covers up about Christianity.
Yeah,
it's scary. Why won't they mention Jesus' name? Why won't they talk about him? Why did they talk about every other religion
but I know why.
Except Christianity?
I know why.
Why?
So, or I believe I know why. So, and my knowledge on this isn't 100%, so you all can fact check me, do whatever you want, but, comment and tell me if it's right or wrong. I believe this is right, though.
Instagram might fact check this.
Yeah.
One anyway.
So, whenever the founding fathers were writing our Constitution, mm-hmm. there was different things set in the Constitution that said that religion cannot be. We cannot make decisions based off of religion. But mm-hmm. the weird thing about it is there is religion that is like a part of our early starting mm-hmm. in the U.S., right? So I'll say that it's weird, but mm-hmm. also there is rules in the Constitution, or there's wording and rules that say you can't make certain decisions off of religious beliefs mm-hmm. because we are a free country to believe in whatever we please, right? So that's one thing for me that's like a little, I don't know, like because I see it but I don't, mm-hmm. you know what I mean?
I think like with Christianity, specifically Christianity, there's a lot there. Mm-hmm. Public record, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that there is a God, let alone that be Jesus Christ or another God. That's up to whoever's interpretation of religion. But like when we talked about it the other day, you have the world leaders
Mhm.
meeting with independent organizations and going
Which
to
is
Mount Sinai,
which is strange.
which was where the Ten Commandments was originally created in the Bible. If the Bible is fictional, according to everyone in the government, why go to a historical place where the Ten Commandments was created to create a new one?
Okay, but let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Okay, no, and that's part of the WF, right? You're talking about.
100%.
We'll get. I want to get into that like literally right after I say this.
Yeah.
The reason why I believe that happens though is not because, and this is just my opinion.
Mhm.
I am not a follower of religion.
Atheist muffin, bro.
I'm not a follower.
Listen to the atheist muffin.
The way he says that just sounds bad.
Atheist
I'm
muffin?
I'm not
Is that
a.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm not a follower of anything. So all of my, my views and stuff, they go off of that. But the reason why I think this happens is because if you have people that are trying to create new world orders or new things, and they do believe, right? So they're obviously they're going to make it, in a place like that, it has more significance, right? That's what I'm getting at. So that's why I believe, because they're already believers. I don't personally believe that it has like a out of worldly, like theoretically God is here and he's like watching us write these 10 commandments. That's sort of like what I'm saying.
Right.
But and I want to say one more thing before we get into the WF, because I said I'd touch on it.
Yeah.
With religion, and again, I'm taking this look as a non-believer in anything. I believe we are humans that have energies. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I really, really believe we are. But I think a lot of things throughout the history of our world and the history of humans and how we've evolved into, like, just society and what we are today, I think a lot of these things have been passed down through hundreds of years, because this is actually factual. We are a lot older than we think.
100%.
Like what the school teaches us and what common knowledge is, we are a lot older than that. There's been civilizations here for a lot longer than that. So all of this history and all of this evolution has been passed down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. I might have touched on this on the podcast before, but this is a big thing for me when I talk about religion. I believe that religion is stories, or not stories, but a following from hundreds of years ago that started when the population of the world was so minuscule that it was easy to persuade a big group of people. So say, just theoretically, numbers wise, we'll say the earth has 10,000 people on it, right? You've got these different continents. So say this continent and this continent are divided, like all the continents are divided from 10,000 people, right? So you have, say, 3,000 people on this continent.
Right.
So as time goes by, the population keeps going. But with religion, it's like, it's so easy to persuade 2,000 people, right? Or not persuade, but I'm saying push
Influence.
Influence 2,000 people, right?
100%.
But now that the earth is 8 billion people, that's why you have all these different theories, different looks on things, because all of it has been passed down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think that, again, it's all started from these things being taught to small amounts of people, and it's a lot easier from that time to create order. Like I definitely, so I will say this about religion, and I'm 100% that you'll agree on this. Regardless of if religion is right or real or not, I think it does bring a good order to the average civilian. I think that.
Clip that. That's good.
So
Atheism on my podcast, bro.
What?
So don't be spreading atheism on my podcast.
I'm not. I think everybody should follow what they believe.
What religion are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Angelic Christian.
Nice.
So yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think it's influence that has been pushed through generations over hundreds and hundreds of years. Not saying it's real or fake. I'm just saying I think that's what it is. And I think a lot of the things now are based off of ideologies that were hundreds of years old.
Right.
And that's why I think there's a lot of conflict now in religion. Like there's more, and again, I'm not trying to push anything on anybody, but there's more atheists now in the world than there ever has been. Right? We talked about this at your house. Why do you think that is?
Because they take God out of everything. I mean, look at America in general. It's full of crime, sex, just evil things. I mean, we are the modern metaphor for Sodom and Gomorrah. If you're not familiar with Sodom and Gomorrah, it's a city in the Bible that God decided to destroy because it was filled with having sex with the same sex, having sex with children, sacrificing things to God.
Sins.
Yeah, exactly. Like drastic sins.
Yeah.
So God said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to kill all of you.
Banish, pretty
Banish
much.
all of you. And America is the modern day version of that. That's all.
That's crazy.
Because look at America.
Yeah.
every little thing is tied into, pedophilia and sex trafficking and drugs.
There's a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fucked up shit, and the crazy thing about that is there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens in groups that's behind doors, and that's one of the big things. And with that, we'll get into the WF, World Economic Forum.
World Economic Forum.
Right. So just because I have a little knowledge on this, and I looked a little bit after we did our little conversation, but because you've studied a little bit, you studied a little more into it than I have, I want you to say the basics, and then we'll get into it.
Basics. World Economic Forum is an independent organization that oversees the first world nations and kind of tries to give them guidelines on what their budgets should be allocated for. Yeah. So they tell Joe Biden, tell America, tell Russia, tell Canada, this is what your budget should be pushed towards.
Right. And this is one group.
One group that no one voted for. There was no vote. There was no election for these people. They're just in a group, and they're able to tell us what we have to do if we want to consider citizens.
Let me ask you this, or I'm going to say this first. The WF, and we talked about this last time, the WF came out with a statement, and if you haven't heard this, you're going to hear it now. The WF came out with a statement that said, in by the year, 2030, 2050, something like that you will own nothing, and you will rent everything, and you will be happy. Along the lines of that.
You will own nothing and you'll be happy. It's their big motto that they push.
Okay.
They are 100% for a social credit score. So, for example, let's say 10 years down the road, you, me, and Jack want to get together, have a podcast. If I mention anything anti-government, we're all in jail.
Yeah.
That just like that.
Or they can shut off your credit cards.
Shut off the credit card. Like look at Kanye. Look at Andrew Tate. They'll cancel us. They'll cancel your bank cards. They'll cancel everything. They'll take your home away from you. Yeah. Everything. You'll essentially be homeless, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But let me ask you this. So, and I'm not taking either side. I'm always here to just sort of devil's advocate this. With that being said, though, and this is a big thing, and we'll sort of talk about the back reason to this in a second. But one thing that sort of not concerns me, but definitely I sometimes think about is like all the land that we have here. Land will eventually. I mean, if we keep populating. And we'll talk about all the little minuscule details later. But through hundreds of years, the population can just continue to grow and there'll be less space, right? So say in 100 years or whatever, do you think that is because only power, or also they're sort of trying to plan early for a time where there really will be a time where it'll be hard to own shit because there's so many people? Like we'll just theoretically say you've got a small city. And there's, perfect example, New York. You've got a city, and there's mass amount of people. One reason why it's so expensive to live there is because there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to live. And if you find a place, it's fucking out the roof for that reason. So do you think that they're sort of planning for something like that early on? Or you get what I'm saying? Just devil's advocate, what do you think the real true purpose of that is?
If you were to empty out Manhattan.
Yeah.
All right, let's take New York City. Empty out all of it, of all buildings and whatnot, structures, and you put every person in America shoulder to shoulder, they would fit.
What do you mean?
In
Manhattan?
They'd fit.
Everybody in the U.S. in Manhattan?
They'd fit.
Okay, I've heard this, but those aren't livable conditions.
Right.
You can't do that.
But that goes to show how much land we really do have.
No, we have land, but it's good land with resources. Like you also see this in California. I mean, they fucking get all their shit shipped to them.
Right.
And a lot of people have heard this. If you're actually familiar with podcasts, you've heard this. They get everything shipped to them. Their fucking water, all their food. Like you get what I'm saying? Like eventually there'll be places that are better to live than others. And you get what I'm saying though? Like we're talking about a big base topic. I'm trying to get to where if it's actually good or not. Or good or bad. Like I definitely think that the WF saying that, it definitely causes suspicion and for you to like raise an eyebrow.
Right.
You will own nothing and you'll be happy. That sounds like bullshit.
It does.
Especially as an American, you're literally taught your entire the American dream is built on you owning everything that you want.
Right.
Right? So it definitely causes suspicion, but I'm also curious to exactly why that's the case. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, why what specifically?
Like what made them make this? What made them come out with that announcement? Like what even started that whole topic, whole conversation?
Of like overall globalization.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Like what started that?
Essentially, because I think the WEF has been in and out of countries for since the 50s and the 60s. You know, it's been a plan that's been in motion for a very long time. And essentially, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. It sounds like slavery. That's exactly what it sounds like. You'll own nothing, you'll be happy. So essentially, you'll be given, your food will be provided by the government, everything that you own will be provided by the government, and you don't comply, the government shuts you all off. You talked about California. California's poverty is due to their legislation. California has the worst mayors and governors in the country. That is why California is the way they are.
Yeah, California is taking a real fucking turn for the dump.
Yeah. I remember 10 years ago, they were asking about being their own country. Yeah, we should bring that back. Fuck California. If you live in California, I'm sorry, but fuck California. We should make them their own country.
Man, I love Texas, though.
Yeah.
Texas is dope. I love Texas. We'll just throw that in there. Texas is fucking great.
Texas is great. Florida's also very great,
too.
I
love Florida. Yeah, I love Florida. But no, so we'll get back into the WEF. What started this? What started that conversation? And what makes them think that they can even push that on everybody? What makes the WEF, and that organization think that they can make all of Americans own nothing and be happy?
It's not even Americans. It's more the world, believe it or not. Like the entire planet. Because when you have the WEF being in hand-in-hand correlation with the government, and then you have both of those entities control the food, control the water, and control the media, control the schooling, control the entertainment, finances, everything about each and every one of our individual lives they'll control. But if you do it over time, you know, and gradually pass laws.
So you think this is a process that they've been going at for years and years and
100%,
years?
100%. Because we talked about it, the origin of like all of this was when they gave women the right to vote. You say that out loud. What the fuck? He just said no. It goes deeper than that. You have the origin of public school education system. You look at all of these things that were in place. The invention of the IRS, the banking system, all of these things strategically placed by the government, funded by independent organizations. You can start to think, okay, this has been a plan coordinated for.
It's been happening.
For a really long time.
I touched on this in our conversation, and I just want to talk about it again. When it comes to the government, I have a small theory, and you know, this is just a theory, just a thought that I have. I don't think that the government, and this goes two ways, and I'll sort of explain what I mean, but I think that the government isn't as solid and isn't as organized as a lot of people believe.
100% they're not.
But I will say this, the things that are organized and they're behind closed doors. But what I mean by it's not organized, I think that a lot of people rely on the government for absolutely everything. Like if something were to happen, like they rely on the government.
That's what they want.
Right. And that exactly. But what I was going to say is a lot of Americans, given the chance, would take that opportunity to just have everything given to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that we'll touch on this just a little bit. Like the theory, or not the theory, there was a party trying to promote this. I forget what it's called, where they give everybody like money every month. What's this called? Do you remember? It's literally just slipping my brain.
During lockdown?
No, well, not during lockdown, just in general. Like they
stimulus checks.
Not stimulus. It's government basic income, GBI or something like that.
Government funded living, I think it might be. But I know exactly. What you're
yeah. Okay. Hopefully y'all understand. So the government supposedly would send you $1,200 a month. $1,500 a month, whatever, for like basic bills and shit. Which to some people, that's great. Like they could live off that. They would rather be slightly comfortable and have to like lower their lifestyle, which is not a problem, but they would rather have that than to go work and be able to work hard and like be able to build. Like it's like it's a conflict of interest when it comes to the American dream. Like imagine everybody just gets handed the same amount of money, right? And I will say this when it comes to that topic. I think the people that are motivated would still work and have that on top, and that would make the gap even worse.
It would.
And that's just my opinion, because like I said, a lot of people would like that, like a lot of lazy people, a lot of people that don't they don't have big dreams, they don't want much, like that's cool to them, but also that would absolutely fuck the lower class even more, because the people that are motivated and shit, they would still go work 60 hours.
Yeah.
That's just the extra $1,200 $1,500 they're keeping every month. That's all that is. But then, like I said, to some people, what that is a whole income, right? And I just want to talk about that just a little bit, because I don't like that topic. Or not that I don't like that topic. I don't think that that's something that would realistically work.
I don't think it would, because I think when look at our, unemployment rate right now in America.
It's the highest it's ever been.
It's the highest it's ever been, and people are wondering why. Our government just paid how much of our American citizens? Trillions of dollars for them to stay the fuck home. And we're wondering, inflation, how did this happen?
Right.
We send how much money to Ukraine? We give all this money to these lazy fuckers.
Yeah. To
sit on their ass while the rest of us go and slave away.
Just because we haven't talked about this on the podcast, Sam Bankman-Fried. That's a big part of that scandal, I believe, though.
FTX.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or FTX,
100%.
Sam Bankman-Fried. But I definitely believe that he's in coherence with the sending the money to Ukraine.
Right.
I think he's somewhere in there.
I'm gonna drop a quick statistic on you real quick. There was a grid, a tax return file that came out about him, the FTX, and the money that was going towards elections.
Yeah.
With the money, I think it was like 1.2 million, 1.4 million going into Democrats for 98 and 99% approval rate.
Yeah.
Republicans were getting $140, $130, $500.
Yeah.
Oh, 100,000. With like 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12% of the votes.
Yeah. That's strange.
Very, very interesting.
No, I definitely think that, again, I'm just going off of what I've heard. I'm not speaking in facts when I say this. I'm going off of what I heard. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think Sam Bankman-Fried definitely helped push the left party.
No, he absolutely did.
And I think that whole thing has just fucking crumbled.
It has.
Fucking crumbled, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like, imagine being in a position like that and fucking that up. Like, I mean, he was, I think the when it comes to age, he was the richest person at his age and below.
Yep.
In the world.
And he fumbled the bag.
He fumbled the bag hard, man.
Like, he was doing illegal shit, but
yeah. Man, I don't know. I want to get back into the WF, though, because I was intrigued by this. One thing I want to say. So, back to them controlling finances. I think it's fucking ridiculous how one organization has a hand in all this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it's super crazy that they're not voted for. But also, and this, I had this like little idea slip my mind earlier. Do you think that this has to do with almost? I don't know the best way to say this, but almost history wanting to repeat itself. And I'll give you an example. The whole reason why the U.S. or the people that came to the U.S. came over here to create what we know as today as America. Escaped from paying taxes and from paying the king, right? Do you think that it is that same organization? Not organization because that's royalty, but what I'm saying, do you think it's trying to sort of bring back that like, oh, America got away from us, we're gonna fucking go back and get them?
Yep, I think that's dude. Me and my brother, we've mentioned that a couple times. It's like we're
an escaped state.
We're about to do the American Revolution too. You know what I mean? That's the kind of point that we're going to have to get at if we're actually going to have to stop this. Because it's gotten to a point where, say what you want about right or left. There's no changing the outcomes of elections nowadays. Right. And that's just a fact. There's nothing that you can do about it. And just the way that the world seems it's going is just on a fast track.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like much can stop what we're heading towards. And that's the thing you just brought up, is you have an organization, like let's say Trump.
Yeah.
And DeSantis, you have 2 Republican leaders running.
Right.
Let's say Trump wins or DeSantis wins, and they want to push all these right ideas. The WF is an independent organization.
Yeah.
No one's voting for what they say. They can tell Trump.
Right.
Or DeSantis or Kanye or Joe Biden whatever they want to tell them. But, of course, if you have a Democratic president in office, it's a lot easier to persuade them because they agree with your ideologies.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that's why... You think that's why Mr. Trump gets such a hate? Because he was, I guess you could say he's one of the first people to really come in there and disrupt a lot. Like I also don't want to speak too much off of just like speculation because again, I'm not too big into politics. I know a little bit. I'm not too big into politics, but that's one thing that I think he gets a lot of hate for is because he came in the game and fucked it up.
Look at the history of Trump. Trump has been beloved by so many Americans and politicians for years and years and years.
Yeah.
The moment he runs for president, people are praising him. But he says, I want to run Republican, then people start to hate on him.
Right.
And you look at Trump, in his inauguration speech, he had a very big quote, and that's what caught my ear and put me on Trump. He said, for years, the establishment, the elite, have been coming after you, and now it's your and my job to go after them. That's a red flag for the elite. He just said establishment.
Yeah.
I use that establishment word.
WEF.
WEF, Matrix. You can put all those.
Okay,
in the same
let me
sentence.
ask you this. So is this organization? Is this what we would? Okay. Do you think? Okay, I'm gonna say this well.
Yeah.
Do you think that this organization is a front corporation for what we know today as the secret society, Illuminati, the higher ups, the people that majority of GP, general population, people, layman's, I guess you could say, don't know about?
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't say they are the group, but I'd say like Klaus Schwab, the founder, and a couple of the members on the board, and then you take Republicans from the right, Republicans on the left, some high status celebrities.
Right.
Those are what make up your elite. And then a lot of people don't understand is how much these companies are involved in the elite. You have big pharma, pharmaceutical company, big tech, Apple. Like Apple, the shit that's been coming out about them recently.
Oh my gosh.
Elon, what he's been exposing about Apple.
I'm curious to see. I'm really curious to see if he actually ends up creating some type of device.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does, I'm curious to see how it goes up against Apple. Not only that, I'm curious to see how everybody is accepting it. Because I'll give you a perfect example. Like a bunch of the apps that I use now, if they're not on this device, I would find it kind of hard for me to switch.
Yeah.
Right? Like I love Elon Musk. I love everything. For the most part, I love everything that he does that I know that's good. You know what I'm saying? Space, the cars, Twitter. Like I'm a follower, of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I'm a follower of Elon Musk. So I would like to consider getting this device, but I'm curious again how it would face up next to Apple because I'm a big fan of Apple, and or the same way goes for a lot of big Samsung fans. I'm curious how it would, combat the two main fucking phone things, because I feel like it's just been Apple and Samsung now for.
Yeah, because I have a Google, but Google hasn't blown up until this past 2 years.
But personally, Google is a separate phone, but is it not the same manufacturers as Samsung? It's not the same concept. Like, for instance,
it's a Google phone, but it runs Android.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, I'm curious to see how that would.
I judge Apple for being corrupt. I have a Google phone. Like Google is any much better
right,
than Apple.
Right.
They're both still corrupt companies.
It's definitely weird, bro. It's definitely super weird.
But with the WEF, I'll bring that back a little bit. You know how even as kids and young teens, we talk about, oh, they're watching us on our phones, our FBI agents. Elon Musk tweeted about a week ago the $1 billion transactions between the COP government in China and Apple.
Yeah.
How China was directly paying Apple and Apple vice versa to monitor every Chinese civilian that was unvaccinated. And it's like we've been talking about them watching our phones for years, but like.
No, so look, I have something to say on that. The TikTok thing really, it sparked my interest when I first heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fucked.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I think it's fucked. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I use TikTok especially for the podcast. Like, there's reasons why I use it, but I definitely think that it's fucked because, and not even like, don't get me wrong. I care that people are watching us, but you can't run from nobody nowadays.
Nope.
Like internet wise, you can't run. So I mean, fuck. It's just a matter of how.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But
matter of time.
But one thing that I think is really fucked is how TikTok's algorithm is not the same as an American or somebody from like the UK.
Right.
Because in China they push, and I've probably said this on the podcast, but in China they push, positive content. They push like motivation. They push hard work. They push engineering, artistry, things like that.
Exactly.
And fucking here we push violence and we fucking push
Hose.
And one funny thing, it's not funny, but like, it's actually fucked up. We glorify the fucked up things in our country rather than try to turn them around and, make change. Right. And I think it's really weird in how China has a hand in that, but we just sort of turn the blind eye.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's something that we need to change.
And that's been something over time that has been pushed, and they've gotten away with it. Because
Right.
Look at how far we've gone now, to where the things that we're able to see on social media were not things that we might have been able to see 10 years ago.
Right.
But they keep pushing forward that envelope, and people are coming less and less, subject to, ooh, that weirds me out, that grosses me out, that makes me feel a certain way. They're used to it.
I definitely think people are getting less censored, 100%. But also I'll say this, I think that because everybody, it's rare to find somebody that is a true free thinker now, right? So with me saying that, I think it has made a lot of people even a little too sensitive, right? So where there's some people that are like completely desensitized, there's those people that are on the complete opposite end of the spectrum that are like everything hurts their feelings,
right?
Like because they see so much of it. I think that's how the brain works, though. That's sort of like how you are influenced as a person and how your upbringing and stuff. Your brain is really what I'm saying.
But a lot of people are also taught to think that way too.
And
a lot of people are taught to think
everything's out to get you.
Everything's out to get you. You know.
Well,
I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say without it sounding completely and utterly dumb. But people are programmed, brainwashed to believe it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to drown yourself in medication. It's okay to self-soak in your self-pity and just be sad all the fucking time.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
It's not, because I was talking to a buddy about it at work. Talk about a breakup, a death of a friend, death of a family member. Depression and anxiety can be
everybody has it.
Exactly.
Crippling things.
Crippling things.
It's how you handle it.
Exactly. Those two things, depression and anxiety specifically, can be insanely good motivators.
Oh, yeah, and I love this quote. I love this quote, man, and I say this to myself and to anybody. I can tell it all the time. Everybody goes through shit. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how you handle what happens to you. And if you can handle a situation in the best way possible and learn from that situation, the more power to you, and the better that the outcome will be of that situation. Like I said, whether it be completely fucking dog shit terrible or good. Like, you need to be able to step back and look at the situation for what it is and not be so blinded by emotions. Not saying that you shouldn't account for emotions, because emotions are very important. And I'm not one of those guys that say, oh, you can't have emotions. That's bullshit. Because it's you handling those emotions that actually what makes you stronger. It's not pushing it to the side. It's easier to do that sometimes. I 100% agree. Like, it's easier to just stay focused on what you got going on. But I also think it's bad if you just shadow or put those in the closet for too long. Because then eventually that's what fucking makes, like...
Psychopaths.
Yeah, psychopaths.
You let that shit boil.
For years and years.
And you're that one thing. I could come up to you. Let's say you're struggling for something for 10 years. I come up to you. Hey, dude, just the way I look at you, you're ready to go. You're ready to fight.
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm ready to fucking... And, bro, that is a perfect example of, like, one thing I think for, like, Karens or whatever the guy name for a Karen would be. It's like... It's just too much for them. Like they don't. Nobody teaches them how to control themselves and to really be able to be accepting to their emotions and feelings. And I think that's what makes people that blow. Right.
What are we at?
49. Is one of them still going? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just want to make closing.
Yeah. We'll go for like 5 more minutes. Is that good? All right. Cool. So, is there anything specific that you want to touch on? And by the way, if you all watch to the end, we're gonna bring Zane back on. You know, we like these conspiracy theory. This is sort of what we originated on, so we enjoy these, and you know, we never want to lose touch in, you know, what we got started on. So absolutely, we'll definitely bring it back. I did want to add something though before we go. Of course.
The main thing, and like this is probably the most. If you're gonna listen to anything I've said today, this is the most important thing. When talking about the WEF conspiracy theories, you know, I've been throwing a couple ones: 9/11, the moon, all that stuff.
Yeah,
the little things,
the fun stuff. We'll get into.
We'll get into all that down the road. The fun stuff, fun stuff. Flat Earth, even more with that. It's not about a right side of politics. It's not about a left side of politics. It's about an overall group of people trying to take away rights of Americans. And that's like my main point. It's not about politics. I'm not defending anything from a Republican point of view. Republicans are just as fucked up as Democrats.
No, exactly. I agree.
Democrats are just as fucked up as the others.
Yeah.
And it's all one big corrupt thing. We were talking about free thinking, and that's like, well, what do you... Like I said, the Matrix is real. Oh, they're coming for us. Well, what do you do?
Right.
Be a free thinker.
Yeah.
Get your bread. Because when you're a free thinker, you can take news from the right, news from the left.
And sort of create your own opinion.
Exactly.
Create your own thought.
Create your own opinion. Instead of being that person that opens up your Instagram.
You're told this
TikTok,
and you fucking believe it automatically.
Don't even question what you just read. Exactly. Oh, Trump's a racist. Okay, Trump's racist. You know.
Yeah. Like no, 100%. I definitely think people are so quick to just... And, you know, sometimes I'll even admit this. Sometimes I'm a victim of that, but that's just how society is. But it's important to be able to, like, get out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's important to, you know, listen to everything, but take in and dissect what's really needed.
Right. And it's also important to do all of that in moderation.
In moderation, yes. Too much of anything and too little of anything can be very bad for you. There's a few, like, little small things I wanted to touch on really quick. Hold on. There is a lot of topics. So look, like I said, we want to bring Zane back on. There's a lot of topics that we didn't get to because this particular type of conversation can go on for hours.
Yeah, this is kind of like an introductory type of style.
Yeah, 100%.
Touch on different topics. We can go into real detail.
In the future. Yeah, so we'll definitely have Zane back on. Leave a comment below. Like I said, I appreciate all the new people that have subscribed, and especially if you watch to the end of the video, leave a comment below. Tell us round two. Everybody put, if you watch to the end of the video, put a round 2 in the comments.
Round 2.
Drop a comment.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. Or
that you want us to put in here.
Like that, and we will dive the fuck into it.
Yep.
We'll get it for y'all. So.
Yeah, we'll dive into it with Zane here.
That's amazing.
What I guess what we'll do is you'll be returned when we talk about conspiracy and stuff.
100%.
All right, cool.
I get down with that.
I appreciate it, Zane, for coming out.
Thank you, buddy, for having me.
It was a good conversation. I'm sorry that, like I said, this is just sort of how the conversation goes, but I didn't want to go too